In April 2023, I had COVID again, and then I was bedridden. Nothing was possible anymore. I couldn't go to the bathroom, couldn't shower alone, had to call my friends to come over to help me when something like that needed to be done. Yeah, I was not able to do anything by myself. I couldn't eat. Yeah, symptoms were just super crazy. So now I can walk easily 10,000 steps per day. Even when I'm in an AP, I can also walk a lot and I can see my friends, I can visit friends, I can drink coffee again, which was a big thing for me not to drink coffee because I'm a coffee girl. I can have a glass of wine again. I can go to the grocery store. I can cook, which was also a major thing. It was so good when I was finally able to cook again. That took me a long, long time because I always had crazy brain fog when I tried to do that. When I was cooking my first meals, I was like, oh my God, it's working. Yes, finally, like I can feed myself. Yeah.
How's it going, Thrivers? Miguel here with CFS Recovery. In this video, we have Marie all the way from Germany, and she's somebody who is dealing with long COVID, just for about 2 years. And at her worst, she was bedridden, but now she's easily walking 10,000 steps per day. She is functional. She's living life again. So, Marie, you want to quickly introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, of course. So, hi guys, my name is Marie, and I live in Berlin, in Germany, and I'm 30 years old. Wait, was it 30? Yes, it was. And sometimes I'm like, when did that happen? And yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I got all of this stuff happening when I was 19 to about 24. So when I got out of the hospital at no, 18 or 19 to 23, when I got out of the hospital at 23, I still felt like I was 19 because there was like a big gap in my
Yeah.
life. So it's really interesting how that works. But maybe let us all know, how did this start? So this was June 2022. You got COVID for the first time, but were you feeling symptoms leading up to it? Or did this come out of nowhere and hit you?
No, so I was very healthy, no symptoms at all. I was always dealing with anxiety in my life, but at that time, like June 2022, I was very much, I would say, cured from my anxiety and from panic attacks and stuff. Like I didn't have problems at all. And then, yeah, I had COVID, and the infection itself was harsh, let's say that. But then I don't know, like 2 months later or something like this, I was okay, but I could feel there was a change. Like my anxiety went up. I was not as energized as I was, and also I was in constant pain. Like I always had crazy back pain. Like I never experienced something like this before, but I was still functional. I could work, I could do things. Like it was alive, let's say that. And then in April 2023, I had COVID again. And then I was bedridden. Nothing was possible anymore. I couldn't go to the bathroom, couldn't shower alone, had to call my friends to come over to help me when something like that needed to be done. Yeah, I was not able to do anything by myself. I couldn't eat. Yeah, symptoms were just super crazy.
Wow. So it hit you really hard that second round. So
Yeah.
it hits you the first time, and even though you're dealing with all these crazy symptoms, you're surviving, like you're getting by. You could
Yeah.
still kind of function. And then it hits you again. What is that, 9 or 10 months later? And it just wipes you out. So when it first hit you and you're going through all of this stuff, what are some things you were trying to do to get better? And what were the doctors saying?
You mean the first time after the first infection?
Yeah. How are you trying to fix it?
Yeah, so I was seeing a bunch of doctors because of the pain, and then no one could really help me, but I was having like physiotherapy and stuff like this. I also saw a therapist because of the anxiety, but it was interesting because when I was in therapy before all of that happened, therapy was very helpful and also very fast helpful. But in that case, all of the things she was saying, like my therapist, it didn't click. It didn't do anything. And then I was seeing like an osteopath. I was doing massages for the pain, all these things. I had everything. Like I had the mat you lay on, the acupuncture
Yeah,
mat.
spiky one.
Yeah, exactly. I did yoga, did all sort of things. Yeah, but like one of my biggest passions is working out, and that wasn't possible anymore. I still pushed through and I went to the gym and I did my workout, and I was in such huge pain after, but I was like, this isn't possible. You just need to push through. At one point, it's just like gonna go away. All these things. Yeah, it was not a good idea. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what were the doctors saying about all of this? Did they ever find anything in your tests, or they were just saying you're normal?
Exactly. They were just, yeah, you're very tense. Everybody was asking, do you have a lot of stress? And I didn't want to admit it because I didn't want to be that person that's stressed and that's she has all these like symptoms or this
Yeah.
back pain. So I was like, yeah, I think normal-ish. And I mean, I had normal-ish, but my inner stress
Yeah.
was high, like
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
high.
Yeah, that was the same way. I didn't wanna admit that I was really stressed, because to me, that level of stress was just like a normal stress. I thought everybody was stressed like that. I was going through it, and I didn't really wanna admit kind of weakness. I was never
Mhm.
that kind of person. I just pushed through.
Yeah.
I dug myself into a deeper hole. So all that's happening, you're working, you're trying to go through life dealing with all these symptoms, but you get hit again in
Mhm.
April 2023. So when it hit you that second time, how long did it wipe you out for? Because you said you were bedridden, right?
Yes, I was bedridden. And I think I was bedridden 3 months, I would say, like completely.
Wow.
Like that nothing was really possible. At one point, I started that I was able to like sit at the table for a meal, but every time I ate something, like my body was just like, what are you doing? And I was like just laying on the table, and my parents had to like basically carry me up into bed again. So, and I don't really know, I don't really remember when that was getting better. Let me think. I think the first half year was really harsh, and then I could feel some improvements. Yeah,
I
yeah.
see. Yeah. Then 3 months bedridden. That's
Mhm.
a pretty long time, because every day is going by so slow. Right?
Yeah.
So how did you get through those 3 months? Like, what were you doing? Just meditating, visualizing things?
So the first 3 months, I was panicking and thinking I'm never going to survive this, or I was meditating, or like I was listening to calming affirmations and stuff. I was never a person that was like into meditation, affirmations, all of these things. Now I'm obsessed. Like this is all I do. um, but yeah, like at that time, at one point, I think a friend told me, yeah, you should listen to like these healing affirmations. And I was just like, I'm going to do everything anyone tells me. So I started that, and I was like, this kind of feels good. And then at that time when I was bedridden, or when I was like able to like get up and try to eat something, for example, but then it hit me and I had to go back to bed. And when my POD symptoms increased a lot, that was the time I put on a meditation. I think I listened to 6 to 8 meditations per day. Like I did nothing else, but that saved me.
Yeah, that's kind of what I did too, because I mean, you can't really do anything physically, so you have to find a way to keep your mind busy, and something that's not too stimulating, because I couldn't watch movies or watch videos or stuff like that. So it was listening to a lot of podcasts, a lot of meditation, and I was the same way. I never really could sit still before.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, because my whole life I could not sit still, and it's almost like my body forced me to be still. Even rolling over in bed was very difficult. So meditating all day, visualizing, doing that. And as you started to do those things, did you find that really helped you, over those 3 months? And is that what kind of helped you come out of it? Or, how did you go from completely bedridden to, starting to sit up again and starting to move around a bit more?
Um, yes, I would say the meditation and the affirmation. And I also had a lot of support from my parents. I'm very lucky. So like every time I tried to walk around, not only my parents, but also my sister, every time I tried to like walk around, or I'm also like very stubborn. So I wanted to like walk. I wanted to, and I tried and I tried. And even if I like, I don't know, I tried to walk 5 meters and I was like, how am I gonna get home now? But still, I tried and tried and tried, and at one point, it just got so slowly, but still, it got a tiny bit better, and I could walk like 10 meters, 15. But yeah, the affirmations, the meditation, that was definitely so helpful just to like find that inner calmness, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, you've been on quite the journey. And when did you find CFS recovery?
I think that was in my 8th month while being so sick. And at that point, I was already able, like, I was just housebound. And then I remember thinking, okay, like now I have all these like negative things about CFS, about long COVID, how no one recovers, blah, 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 all these
Yeah.
things. So then I was like, okay, I need to change something here. I need to like feed myself with positive things now. So I searched in YouTube. I typed, I think, actually CFS recovery or a recovery story or something like this. And then I found your videos. And I think the first video I found was an interview like that. And I was like, this is interesting. And then I started to binge watch all of your videos. And like this was then my activity for the day. I also had crazy brain fog. But every time I was able to do something, I was like, okay, these videos now. Okay, now we're gonna watch some more of them. And then I started to feel already better just by watching the videos. And I was like, okay, this is good. And then I think for 2 months, I was like being a little bit hesitant because I was like hearing so many things about programs and stuff. So I was like, is this right? Should I really do it? But then at one point, I was like, you just gotta do it. Like just try it. I mean, what could go wrong? It could go wrong that it doesn't help you, but none of the things that I tried helped me. So yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna try.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Exactly.
yeah, that's, yeah.
And when did you join the academy?
In January this year.
Okay, so this was only 6 months ago. So
Mhm.
2024 was a year everything just kind of skyrocketed for your progress and everything. What were some of the biggest things you learned over the last 6 months about recovery, whether through the academy or just with your own experimentation? What are some like golden nuggets you can share with people who are still on their journey and
Mhm.
stuck and maybe they're where you were, a year or a year and a half ago? What
Yeah.
are some things you want to share with people?
Yes. So I would say, trust the process and don't ever lose hope. Like it's normal to have adjustment periods or like crashes. It's normal, but this doesn't mean that you're gonna go backwards. Just keep going on, get help, go in a program like this or go into this program. I'm a fan. So yeah, and just like I don't know, for me it was very important to make the decision to trust. I decided that I'm going to trust the process. I decided that I'm going to trust the coaches. And I think this was the best thing I could do because every time I did what the coaches said, I just had like this. It was like this, the process, the progress, sorry. And I could also relate a lot to Adrian, one of the coaches, because of her story, because she's an athlete too, and all these things. And like basically every time she said something, I was just like, wow, I can relate to that so much. So basically, I just have to do everything exactly she did too, and then I'm gonna recover. And honestly, it was just as easy as that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That just helped me so much. And I think what's also so important is to really remember yourself all the time, respond well to the symptoms. Don't freak out about them. This is, I think, the worst you can do, like freaking out about the symptoms. And I know that's super hard, but still, for me, that was the most important thing, not to freak out about them.
Yeah, that's what we preach as the golden rule in recovery because, freaking out over symptoms, it really, really like not only slows down progress, but can make you go backwards. And it's okay to have some doubts about the symptoms and get a little bit worried and feel a little bit anxious. But it's when we start telling ourselves the stories of like, oh no, messed up. I shouldn't have done that. Now I just added a year to my recovery. Things like that.
Yeah,
It really doesn't help. But I think it's the natural thing for our brain to do
of
uh,
course.
before we learn all of these things. So, yeah, responding well to symptoms is massive. And I think it just makes it so much easier when someone has given you the blueprint to recovery basically every single week. And it's like anytime you're not sure, you're not only learning from your own situation, but you're learning from other people because
Yes.
they're going
Mhm.
through the same things. right?
Yeah, I really love that because especially at the beginning, I was so overwhelmed with the calls, with my brain fog that I was just like, what is happening? And I could just like lay on the couch. I didn't have my camera on, didn't say anything. Um, was just like trying to like get all the information, and all of the questions people asked were just so helpful. And also later, when I was asking myself questions and when I was like also sharing wins and all of these things, sometimes other people asked questions that I kind of had, but I couldn't really like voice them or put them into words. And then I heard these questions and I was like, yes, exactly. What do we do with that? And it was just great, sometimes you didn't have to think for yourself, other
Yeah,
people did that. And yeah, that's just a massive win. And also like the calls itself, they are so fun. Like it might sound weird, but like of course it's intense and it's like sad stories because everybody's going through the whole process. But then in the chat you can write with everybody. It's most of the times it's just funny. We make our jokes. It's just a bunch of positive people. So that's
yeah,
fun.
yeah, and it almost feels like you're going through this journey with a small team
Yeah,
versus doing this by yourself, because this can be one of the most isolating things you could ever go through. Even if you have family and friends around and they're really supportive, they'll just never really understand what you're actually feeling if they've
yeah,
never felt the symptoms. So, how much of an impact was that being around people who understand what you're going through, but not only that, also people who are solution focused and they're all in the same mission of
yeah.
thriving health and they were solution focused. How much of an impact did that make?
It made such an impact, like crazy. I have the most loving family, the most loving, and I have amazing friends, and everybody was so understanding. But of course, the understanding like doesn't go that far because, and I also am happy that they don't understand what it feels like because that would mean they are going through
Yeah.
it. But like I had always this need. I wanted them to understand really how it felt like, and I was like, yeah, it's like this or like this. And I was trying to explain all the time. And I was very tired from that, but you just felt alone, and you just wanted to like people understand what you're going through. And then when I was in the program, this need to be understood from other people that didn't go through this just disappeared. And that also brought me so much calmness. Like you can talk with these other people that are going through it. You can talk to the coaches that went through it. So that's just a luxury, and yeah, and then you're also so fine that other people don't get it. We also talked about this a lot in the calls, and one time Adrian, she was like, yeah, they just won't get it. They just won't get it. And I find that so funny because it's so true. So yeah, it's not necessary to put energy in this because it's impossible to understand for other people what you're going through. But it's not necessary anymore because you have all these people that know exactly how it feels like. And that's just
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And you feel seen. You don't really
great.
feel, what do you call it? I didn't feel physically invisible, but I think, my problems did seem invisible to pretty much the rest of the world. Even though
Yeah.
people felt bad for me and they were like, "Yeah, it must be tough what you're going through. Just hang in there, you got this."
Mhm.
Like you said, sometimes you need practical advice of, "Okay, but how do I get out of this situation? What do I actually do?" It's one thing for someone to say, "Hang in there, just don't give up." It's okay, I'm trying, not I'm trying my best.
Yes.
What do I do to get out of this? So that's where, the practical advice from the coaches and the videos and, just the golden nuggets even from other thrivers come in
Yeah.
handy, you know?
Exactly. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And also the thing with like Adrian and how much I could relate to the things. Like, for example, at the beginning, walking was a huge thing for me. And I couldn't do it. And I always like got crazy symptoms. And I was so, so anxious with the walking. And at one point, she was saying something. I think she told us, or I think maybe me. No, I think she told that to someone else. She said that she told you when she was in recovery herself, she told you that she was not afraid of APs anymore, but still something wasn't like matching or something just wasn't working. And then you were like, Yeah, because you're afraid of the symptoms still. You're not afraid of the AP anymore, just of the symptoms. And I was like, oh, this is me. Oh my God. And then Adrian was like, so I knew I had to attack there and just do it. Just
Yeah.
try to do it. And then I remember that so vividly. After the call, I did nothing else than telling myself, I'm safe. I can walk. I'm safe. I can walk. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. And I slept with that thought in my head. I fell asleep like this. I woke up and I was like, I can do this. I can go on a walk. Today I'm going to go on a walk alone. So I did that. I ate something and went out and went for a walk alone. And I was just like, oh my God, yes. And it worked. It was absolutely fine.
Yeah.
Like, yeah,
Yeah. You leveled up. You leveled up in recovery.
absolutely. Yeah.
It's so interesting because people hearing this right now, a lot of people, they see my channel at first.
Mhm.
They don't really understand what we're really doing here, and they're like, "What do you mean you could just talk your way out of recovery or think better and you heal everything?" And it goes a lot deeper than that, right? It goes as deep as, actually rewiring the way your brain is like functioning and getting you out of that survival mode. So for you, just like you said in this example, it's actually a simple process, but it does take a lot of dedication and
Mhm.
consistency, but it's
Yeah.
actually not complicated to do. It can be
Yeah.
very boring to do, actually. Funny, some people, when they get inside the program, they're confused. They're like, wait, this is it? This is brain retraining? I thought it was like, I want my money back. Like, where's the fancy stuff? Well,
Yeah.
actually, some people say that at first, but then they start getting results and they're like, oh, wait, but it's working. So,
Mm.
okay, you know what? To keep the money. I want to keep going. And then it's like they recover
Yes,
because
exactly.
it's almost too simple to be true. A lot
Mhm.
of these people, but that's
Yeah.
the thing, right? Like the way our brains are wired, we're primed to look for fix these complex problems, but it's actually a simple fix, but
Yeah.
it does require a lot of consistency. So, for you, having gone through this process, maybe just share with everybody watching this right now, what can you do now that you couldn't do 6, 8, 12 months ago? What are you doing now? What does your life look like?
So now I can walk easily 10,000 steps per day. Even when I'm in an AP, I can also walk a lot. It actually helps me. And I can see my friends, I can visit friends, I can drink coffee again, which was a big thing for me not to drink coffee because I'm a coffee girl. Now I drink way too much. I have to stop that. But yeah, I can drink coffee again. I can have a glass of wine again. Yeah, I can go to the grocery store. I can cook, which was also a major thing. It was so good when I was finally able to cook again. That took me a long, long time because I always had crazy brain fog when I tried to do that. And this was the thing that took me the longest to be able to do again. So when I was cooking my first meals, I was like, oh my God, it's working. Yes, finally, like I
Awesome.
can feed myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
social activities, you're able to hang out with friends and go out.
Yes, exactly. Like I also did something I cannot recommend. That was a bit stupid. I was going out, I think, when was that? 1 month ago or something like that, or 2 months ago, maybe. I was going out until 7 a.m. in the morning, which was really, really stupid. I'm also not good at that just when I'm super healthy. But it was the first time I was out in the evening for a longer time with my friends. And I was just so happy and I was enjoying it and I just couldn't go home. And then at one point I was like, oh my God, what have I done? And then I went home and then I got into a very big IP, actually the biggest one I had, but the level up from that was also the biggest level up I've had so far. So it was cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you had a big, big progress cycle. What were you doing till 7 AM, just out of curiosity? Was it like out at a party or something? Now I'm really curious.
It was not even a party. I live in Berlin and we were just, I don't know how you say that, like we have these late night shops. You call that Späti in Berlin. And then you can just buy all night long. You can buy beer or you can buy whatever, like chocolate or crisps, something like this, just like essentials for a night out, cigarettes.
Essentials, of course,
Yeah.
yes.
And, and then, we were just outside. It was warm that night, um, and we were just outside, just enjoying that I was with my friends again, just laughing, just being in front of these late night shops. Like, the city was full. Sometimes we talked to people, sometimes we played stupid games. I don't know, just like whatever. I was not in the club. Very proud of that. But out until 7 a.m. in the morning.
Holy cow. Yeah,
Yes.
that's definitely a sign that your nervous system is building up and
Yes.
becoming anti-fragile. Even a normal person like me, if I'm out till 7 AM, I will feel it the
Yeah,
next
me too.
days after. So,
Yes.
no, that's amazing. So you're
Yeah.
able to do yeah, you're able to participate in life really and
Mhm.
not just survive, but really thrive. And how has your mindset changed throughout this experience? Because I think going through CFS, it's one of the most transformative experiences you could have.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of things that happen physically and mentally and emotionally. So how would you say it changed you as a person coming out of this and going through all the lessons you've gone through?
Yeah, it changed me so much. Um, like before, I was very stressed always, like not because of external stress, but just my inner self was very, very stressed. And I always reacted like the opposite of chilled to basically anything.
Yeah.
I was just so, so stressed with everything. And I was talking not nicely to myself. I was always talking very negatively about myself to myself, feeding myself with negative thoughts about myself, about everything. I was super, super self critical, a perfectionist, like the typical CFS person. Yeah, very hard on myself and like also like with the world. I was not like a negative person, just with myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm now like I don't know. I see this, for example, with my friends sometimes too. They get angry or stressed with certain situations where I'm like, this is not so bad, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, I think that normally I would be the person who's like, this is I don't know, whatever. This is so dumb or this stresses me out. I don't know. And yeah, now I talk so much nicer to myself. I started the whole self-love journey. And yeah, I don't know. Now I'm like so obsessed with affirmations, feeding myself with positive, loving thoughts about everybody, about the world, about myself. Yeah, it's so hard to explain, but this changes you so much. And I can literally feel all the love is coming from inside of me. And it's also like my friendships changed also. I had great friendships, but I feel like now they are even more better. It's super interesting. And just how I meet people. I don't know. I just feel like I'm full of love.
Yeah. That's how I feel. Like everything you just described, that is exactly how I felt. Even just from the person I was before, it's almost like if you're in a room and there's the current Marie and then the Marie 2 or 3 years ago, there would be so many differences of just
Yes.
the energy because
Mhm.
before, like, my energy was just buzzing, it was too much, and I was
Yeah.
so self-critical on myself. I wasn't a negative person on the outside, but to myself, I was like, "It's never good enough. You gotta work harder, push harder." I didn't feel like I was in the driver's seat of my life. Felt like
Mhm.
something else was running it. I guess maybe my ego, but now and after recovering, like, it gets to the point where you look back at what took you down this path and you're like, I don't want to be that person. I just
Mhm.
don't want that anymore. I want a different life and life that's a little more chill or at least, a higher quality life. I think before I was all about higher output. How much more
Mhm.
can I do versus how much better can I feel? So that was a huge, huge shift for me. So this journey that you've been on, right? This was, let's call it like a 2 year transformation.
Mhm.
Let's share with some people what are the things that kept you stuck, that hindered your recovery, but also what helped you in recovery. So maybe we'll start with what hindered you. What do you think are the biggest things that slowed you down in recovery? You did mention one before, which is like freaking out, right?
Yeah.
Symptoms. What are some other, big mistakes you made that really slowed recovery down? And there's so many. I know it's so hard to choose, but if
Yes.
something pops into your mind, like what would that be so people can hear it and, you know that, okay, I should probably not do that.
Yeah. So like as you just said, the freaking out comes close to that, but the negative thinking. Like as soon as I started to stop think, I don't know if I will ever recover, and when I
Yeah.
started to think, I will definitely recover. The question is just when. And until this is gonna happen, I'm just gonna listen to a lot of podcasts that help me personally. I'm just gonna do the inner work, you know? And that just was, yeah, so helpful too. But like when I was thinking so negatively and when I was like, yeah, the constant worrying about like, I will never get better, I will never come out of this. This was, I think, my major roadblock for sure. And also when I made progress, because sometimes I made progress, but then I was like, I thought, okay, don't trust this. Maybe you will have a setback and then you're going to be disappointed because you were happy in that situation. So I didn't allow myself to be happy about progress, which
Mhm.
was just, I mean, how can you take so much joy away from yourself,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. It's very common to, like, being afraid to celebrate those things because you anticipate things are just gonna go backwards again. It's like that fear of disappointment.
Mhm.
But, I think something that really helps with that, especially, because I used to have the same thing, I didn't think I was gonna recover. So, I think it's just being realistic with certain things. You may not recover tomorrow, maybe not next week. You're not gonna be running around playing soccer or, feeling 0 symptoms next week, maybe even not next month. But at some point in the timeline of life, you won't have this anymore. And knowing that that point will come, knowing that it's inevitable,
Mhm.
it's just a matter of when, I think that makes all the difference because at least in your mind, it is possible. It's going to happen at some point. But
Yes.
it's when we start putting timelines to it, that's where it could really start to mess with our minds. Setting
Yes.
deadlines for recovery. It's a big
Absolutely.
mistake people make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also remember one thing, Becky, who is still in the program. I think you know her. She and I, we are so close. Like we love each other. And she told me once when I was having like a dark day or something, she was like, "Yeah, every person is gonna go through something in their life, through a hard time, through a hard phase. This right now, this is our hard phase. But when we think we're going to be maybe, if we're lucky, 85 years old, and she was like, yeah, I'm not good with maths, but like, I think this is like 5% of our
Yeah.
life or something.
Yeah.
So basically nothing when you look at it like that. And I thought about this sentence so many times, and every time I had like a very dark phase, also when she was having a dark phase, I was like, do you remember that sentence you told me? It's true. This is
So
our
true.
time, but also a very helpful time, a time where we learn so much. And I'm still very thankful actually that I had or that I have CFS or long COVID or whatever, because it made me learn so many things about myself. So yeah, it's not really only a hard time. Of course, it's hard, but then you get a lot from it too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There's so many benefits in it.
Yeah.
Not just drawbacks and downsides, and it's so true. I had this for about 4.5 years, and I was bedridden for 8 months at my worst, 8 months straight, and I thought my life was over because that's what it feels like in the moment, but really, if you zoom out and look at the big picture, that's just a chapter of life. I would think to myself, "I have a horrible life, my life is ruined." But it's like, okay, well, I had another 19 great years, right? Or 20 great years. It's been a bad 3 months, but that small chapter doesn't define that whole life. And I think that's the cool thing about life. It's the ups and downs because without any rain, you would have no sunshine. Without dark, there is no light. So that contrast of really difficult times and exciting times, I think that contrast is what makes the experience so much more interesting. And that's why people when they come out of CFS and they really start getting their lives back, they're so much more appreciative. It's
Mhm.
kind of like someone who's been in prison for 20 years or a year and they come out into the world and eat their first burger. It
Yeah,
tastes 100 times better
of course.
because they appreciate it. Because you only appreciate stuff when it's taken away from you, usually, or at
Yeah.
least you appreciate it a lot more.
That's true. Yeah, this is very true. I also realized that I like so much more appreciate life and everything I have and like just everything. I also started during recovery. I also started doing every night or the 5 minutes before I fall asleep. I write my gratefulness journal. And that is also so helpful. Just like, don't forget the things you can do. And it's like the tiny little things I write down, but it's just, I don't know, it's just amazing. It just
Yeah.
helps me so much. Makes me a lot happier.
Yeah. So those are the things to avoid and the things that, slowed you down in recovery. It's negative thinking, being too hard on yourself, not celebrating wins, things like that. What are the biggest things that did help you recover? You mentioned obviously responding well to symptoms.
Exactly.
What are some other things that really helped break through plateaus and really helped you have mind shifts? What were some of those things?
Yeah, so what I just mentioned was being thankful, and like focusing really, really on the good things. Like never lose that perspective of the good things. Yeah, never lose the sight of all the things that are happening to you that are good. And also, what really helped me was searching for proof that I am recovering. So I wrote down all the things I was able to do that I couldn't do before, like just tiny little things. But then it adds up, and then the list gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And then at one point, you're just like, yeah, I am actually recovering. It's happening. Maybe not like super fast, but that's okay. I am recovering. And what also really helped me was having that support from the people in the CFS group. That was just amazing. I mean, the support is just so great. Everybody celebrates you so heavily for every tiny win. And it's just so great. If you have so many beautiful souls celebrating your success, that's just amazing. And
Mhm.
obviously the coaches. Adrian helped me a lot, like a lot, because everything she said, I was like, this is me, yay. And it was just perfect for me to like adapt to my situation. But of course, all the things Junior says, so helpful. Krista, you, I mean, I didn't see you so many times on a call, but still super helpful. And of course, the videos we have in CFS recovery that just, yeah, just having this understanding that was at the beginning, just having the understanding, okay, what exactly is happening with my brain? Why am I having internal vibrations? What is this? And also just knowing, oh, other people have that too. I'm not crazy. Because
Yeah.
of course, when you're going to go to a doctor and you're going to be like, it feels like I have 5,000 phones in my body and they are all vibrating. They're going to be like, maybe you need to see another doctor.
Yeah, yeah.
Psychologist, maybe.
Yeah, we need to see a psychiatrist. Yeah,
Yes.
let me put you down for a visit. We'll have you see a psychiatrist and,
Yeah,
check that out. That doesn't sound normal. Yeah, that's what they do, right?
exactly.
So, yeah, when you see other people dealing with these things, you realize all this time you weren't going crazy, right?
Yes.
Because so many other people were
It
dealing
was
with
just
this too.
great. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
exactly.
helped so much, like really. And just, yeah, just hearing, also what helped me too was hearing the wins from other people. That was also very helpful. And just like seeing the progress people made, and also seeing how people were touched by the progress people made at the beginning when I was in the program, because you could see the coaches were so happy. You could see the other thrivers were so happy for them. So you were like, okay, they seem to have started at maybe the same place where I was, and now they are doing all these things. Maybe I can do that too. Let me stay in this program.
Yeah, yeah, and the next thing you know, you're one of the people who are, like, further along in their recovery, and then people start looking up to you, and they're like, "Wow, I wanna be like Marie," you know?
Yeah,
And then it's like a cycle, then those people will get better and people look up to them. It's so cool to see. And also the people you joined with around the same time as you, because there's other people joining all the time. It's like you see them on calls, you see their wins, and then it's almost like you're getting better together and also graduating together.
yeah,
And it's like, wow, I just went on a 6-month journey with other people and we're getting our lives back. So it's so cool to see.
yeah.
So with this new health that you have and this new capacity and freedom to do things, what are some exciting things that are coming up? Do you have anything on your bucket list coming up this year?
Absolutely. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but as I told you, like Becky, one of the thrivers, she's still in program. We started at the same month, and we are soulmates. Like literally, it's crazy. I always say that if I would have to do the whole recovery progress again, and if the outcome would be to meet Becky, I would do it again,
Really?
like for real.
Wow, that's
So
amazing.
yeah, it's just so great. And I definitely want to go visit her. And she also wants me to visit. That's not only me. So maybe we will do that this year. We said we're going to wait until she's also more able to like enjoy that. But as you
Yeah,
said, the whole thing with like seeing the progress from the other person, that also touched me so much to see when she was able to attend her brother's wedding, for example. This was like I was in tears when she was like sending me videos and pictures and was like, I made it, I'm here. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm so happy. So definitely gonna visit her, and then I'm gonna start working again. And I'm very excited about that, of course, like feeling like someone who is like participating in
mhm,
society again. This is gonna
yeah,
be amazing, I think. Like I'm very excited for that. I'm gonna travel. I'm gonna travel in August actually to France and see the ocean. This was also a thing like I for a time I thought I'm never gonna be able to see the ocean again. And that made me so incredibly sad. And now I know, yeah, I'm going to be there next month actually. And I'm going to be in the ocean. I'm going to stand there. I think it's going to be a crying
yeah.
concert. And I'm very happy for that. So, yeah, and just like, I don't know, I'm going to go to my friend's graduation party tomorrow. I
Oh,
also didn't think that this is going to be possible. Yeah, just living
that's
life.
so exciting. That is so
Mhm.
exciting, and it's so cool being able to bring these visions to life, especially
Yeah.
the ocean, trip that you have planned. It kinda reminds me of my Hawaii trip when I was bedridden and I couldn't move for months. I would have to escape. My mind would have to escape to a different place, and I always imagined that, like, standing in the water or standing on top of a mountain watching the sunrise, and it's beautiful, and I played it so many times in my head, so when it actually happened, it was surreal. It was like it felt very familiar because it's like I had been there so many times before because I
Mhm.
already imagined it, and it was impossible at that time. I couldn't even sit up out of bed to feed myself,
Yeah.
but there I was, a year and a half or, about a year later, just living that exact same vision that I have. So for anybody watching this, all these visions and imaginations you have, the cool thing is that's not impossible. You
Yeah.
know, that can absolutely happen. Of course, can't fly, you can't you do certain things,
Yeah.
but most of it, the things that you think you'll never do again, that you think is impossible, the amount of times I've heard that from people and they go out and do it 6 months later or 8, 10, 12 months later, and they're just in a different life,
Mhm.
it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, that's gonna be really, really exciting for you to do those things, and
Yeah.
especially making a meeting your soulmate, one of your soulmates in the program, that's super cool. You guys just met through the academy?
Exactly, yes, we just met through that. I mean, I met so many great people there, but like with her, it's like very special. We're like, okay, what is this? At the beginning, we were like, I'm really not gay or something like this, but I feel like I'm in love with you. And we both felt like this. And it was just like, is it too early to say I love you? No, I love you as well. And it was so funny.
Oh, man, that's amazing. That is
Yeah.
amazing. What is something that you would tell your past self? Let's say, uh, the Marie a year ago, if she was
Mhm.
looking for advice and she's in the trenches and, she's struggling, or maybe at your worst when you're bedridden, what would you tell that Marie knowing what you know now?
Um, I would say go and get help. It's possible to recover, but I just needed knowledge, I just needed support. I needed knowledge. I needed people that go through the same thing. I needed people that knew exactly what is happening. So yeah, first get help. Trust, because I felt like when I was watching your videos, I was like, I had this gut feeling. I was like, this is the thing. This is gonna help me. And I was waiting quite long, I think like 9 weeks or something, till I decided, okay, I'm actually going to start the program. So yeah, I would say start sooner than late, because then you're going to recover sooner. So I would tell myself that. And yeah, don't freak out. And recovery is possible. You will do things again. You will have your life back. Just hang in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. your story is very powerful, just like everybody else who can get through this, especially if you've been at a place where you're bedridden. This is something, if you search up on Google, guys, don't search this on Google, but search up CFS on Google, they're going to
Yes.
say you can't recover from this, or the recovery rate is very low and this and that. And it's just not true,
Yeah.
as you've seen in the program and, gone through it yourself. It is absolutely possible to turn this around and really get your life back. So for anybody watching this right now, just know it is absolutely possible to recover. We have so many interviews and recovery stories of people getting better. And that's not even including all the other people who recover, right? There's so many people getting their lives back. I think it's just going to be a normal thing in the very near future. It's like, oh, you got
Mhm.
CFS. Oh, you do this, and then boom, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Just like a lot of other illnesses. So if you did want some extra help and you did need some guidance on your journey, you can click the link down below. You can apply to the program and see if you're a good fit. But Marie, appreciate your time. Before we leave, is there anything else you wanted to share with these folks watching right now?
Be prepared to meet your new best friends. That doesn't mean that you're gonna lose your before best friends, but you're gonna need some extra space for these amazing people that you're gonna meet. And yeah, just enjoy the process.
Yeah, absolutely. And be prepared to transform
Yes.
yourself, because in order
Oh,
to get through this and you know recreate your 2.0 version of yourself, you do have to let go of the previous person you were. And I think that's what can keep people stuck for so long, is they don't want to let go of
yeah,
you know all the things that helped them achieve these things in the past. But it's also what led them to getting sick, or part of what led them to getting sick. So
yeah,
be prepared to transform. And if you're ready to
yes.
transform, that's what we help people do day in and day out. So Marie, I appreciate your time, appreciate you sharing your story with everybody here. And we'll see if we could do another one of these in, another 6, 10, 12 months down the road when you're even better. So
Yeah.
for you guys watching this right now, always remember that you are a thriver and you are just one mind shift away from living with thriving health. See you guys in the next video. Thanks so much, Marie.
Thank you.
Awesome.